Okay. All right. I think we're live here. Good, good, good. So this should be interesting. I've never done this through Zoom, so I am hoping that you guys can see me, that people can see me. Let me just see if I can see myself up here. I'm just going to close that. Okay, I think we're good. All right, there we are. Okay, Sun Luminous says hello. I think I'm doing this. You can see and hear me. Yay! Awesome, awesome. This is so exciting. I haven't done this before, so here we are. Okay. Wow. So this is Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. I'm going to do a little live stream here before I get on and jump on with the Mercury Magic and Myth seminar. This is going to be a live class. It's going to be starting in about an hour. And I was going to leave links down below for you guys to join the course. Let me see if I can put it in the comment. I think I can do that. Let me see if I can do that for you guys real quick. So if you all wanted to jump into that class, you can. Let me do that real quick. I'm a one-woman show here. learn.drdanny.com. Enter. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys. And there we go. So if y'all wanted to join us in a little bit for that class, there's the link to that. If you can't join us at 7, then you can still enroll in the course, and then the recording that I do will be available in the course module. And what I was going to do is basically just kind of go over a little bit of the mythology of Mercury. Then I was going to just briefly cover some of the astrology archetypes associated with Mercury. Then I was going to talk to you about some metaphysics. And I thought what I'd do is maybe give you a sneak peek of the slides and then get you guys excited about it, because I'm excited about it. All right, let's see. And then and then I'll talk a little bit about Mercury Retrograde. And then if you guys have some questions, we can go through some of that too. So this is basically sort of the crux of the talk. Metaphysics, matter energetics through the ether. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the Doppler shift, wave particle duality, EM gravity fields, fractalized holograms. We're just going to cover a real high level surface of that and how that kind of plays in with astrology. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Also, wow, that last video I did on the worm moon, that video, I guess that's what you would call viral. I mean, I think I had 27,000 views on that video. That was really, really amazing. So that just blew me away. I got a ton of orders. I got swamped, but I'm getting through it. So really excited about that. Also got over 1,000 new subscribers. So anybody that's watching that's brand new, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you here. Constellational astrology, I think, is the way that we need to go. We're a race of people that need to start looking at the sky. You know, back when astrology and astronomy were one sacred science, and then the age of Pisces came swinging in, it became, a sin to look at the sky. You've got Galileo, who was called a heretic, and he died on house arrest just because he disagreed with the church that the Earth orbited around the sun. And so I think what happened is that astrology had to go underground, so it became a lot more palatable for astrology to be done in secret with the beautiful symmetry of 12, the way that you can slice it up perfectly. It was easier to calculate by hand too if you had 12. But now that we're in the age of enlightenment, the age of reason, the age of, we can see what's in the sky. I don't know, it might be a good idea to kind of bring the two back together. And that's what I'm endeavoring to do. And that's what I'm endeavoring to teach people. So welcome to my journey. A little bit about me for those of you that are new to my channel and my work. I am a physician. I am an obstetrician gynecologist. I've been practicing for about 12 years. I went to medical school a little bit later than most people because I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I've always been a little bit soul guided. And for me to go right into medical school right after college just didn't seem like the thing to do. So I was a theater major and I did a lot of different things. And then when I was about 27, 28, right around my first Saturn return, I said, oh my gosh, I need to get my act together, and went back to school and studied for 8 years. And then did my residency and moved to Texas and started practicing. And I'll be 50 years old this summer. So I'm having my Chiron return, and I'm stepping outside of all kinds of crazy comfort zones to bring you this information because I am super passionate about constellational astrology. So that's my story. Hello, Donna. Hello, Sun Luminous, Fabi. Thank you guys for being here. You guys will be Dr. Danny veterans in very short order if hopefully this takes off and we get more people interested in this kind of astrology. I do have a Facebook group, you guys. It's called Fellowship of 13 Signs. If y'all want to go there and join me, we're a group that's growing, and I post there regularly. I update you about, my life, my things, the classes and everything like that. So I would love to see you over there. Also, on a personal front, this is my last week as a private practice doctor. In about 2 weeks, I start my brand new job where I'm going to be doing shift work. So I will have a lot more time to actually focus on readings and my clients and things like that. I also have some really nice projects that are coming up too, where I'm going to combine my medical knowledge with my astrology knowledge. I've been taking a medical astrology course with Judith Hill. Yes, she's a tropical astrologer, but there's so much wisdom in tropical astrology. So I encourage you guys that are, kind of on the fence, like I've been doing tropical forever and I don't want to give up everything that I know. You really don't have to. You can still use the knowledge that you learn from tropical astrology and bring it into this constellational astrology. And in fact, I think it's kind of easier. I don't really think that you have to, stress about, the certain degrees or whatever. You can just look up in the sky and see what's there. There's only really one good software program that I'm aware of that you can use as your ephemeris to work with it. And I use Capricorn Prometheus software. You can get that at Mastering the Zodiac. Athen Comenti's been at this for a very long time, about 10 years. And he has a YouTube channel as well, does a weekly video, has over 3,000 videos, 70,000 subs. And he was actually the one that I got started with, because when I realized I wasn't a Leo sun, that I was actually a Cancer sun, I went through what I call a tropical derangement syndrome, where I was like, wait, what? Who am I? What am I doing here? And I had to learn everything about it. And so I started with him, and then I found Ike Rodriguez with Sidereal Revolution, and I did a mentorship with him. That was fantastic, really eye-opening, soul-searching, all of that. And now I'm on my own, doing my own stuff. So that's basically the story in a nutshell. I'm going to go ahead and see if anybody has any questions about anything. Anybody in the chat want to ask me anything at all? Because what I thought I would do is maybe go over this Mercury cycle with you guys, because it's not just Mercury retrograde, right? It's Mercury retrograde is an important part of the Mercury cycle, but it's only 3 weeks of the larger 116-day cycle. And this one that we're in right now actually started at the end of February and will end right around mid-June. So it's a longer cycle. And if you start at the beginning of the cycle working with Mercury, the retrogrades tend to go a little bit better. Mercury retrograde was always something I was into before I really, really started studying astrology, because in medicine, besides the moon, that's the number one like luminary that affects things that happen in medicine. Orders get misplaced or misinterpreted, and medical mistakes happen. Surgeries take bizarre turns. People don't understand what you're saying when you're talking to them. So medicine is highly affected by the planets as well. And when I started working with Mercury, kind of understanding its give and take with my own channel, with my own mind, oh my gosh, things just were amazing. Before though, like I would have these thoughts like, oh my gosh, I hope this person doesn't need a hysterectomy or something, and then 6 hours later they'd be calling me, the person's bleeding out and I need to take them back for an emergency hysterectomy. So things like that can happen during Mercury retrograde because your mind is so excuse me, connected to this planet. Anyway, all right. So what do you say we review a little bit of the Mercury cycle? I thought I'd go back in time. I'm going to open up my software, close that, open that. This is the Prometheus software that I was talking about. And what I like to do is view chart and animate, and you get to see the sky in motion. This is this is a big part of my practice and how I get ready for these videos. Is I just sort of take a look at the sky and go back in time and forward in time and see what's happening. So right about here, around February 28th was the beginning of this particular Mercury cycle that we are currently in. I'm going to grab my pen. And let me get my thing to write. Annotate. I wonder why I can't annotate. Okay, well, that's interesting. When I'm not live, I have a pen. But when I'm live, am I sharing my screen? I think I am. Let me share it again. Here we go. Share screen. There it is. Okay, annotate. Okay. So here is the chart. The 28th of February, right here, you have Mercury, Sun, and Saturn all combined in the constellation of Aquarius. This was the beginning of the current Mercury cycle that we are in. Now, this conjunction between Mercury and Sun is actually what we call a superior conjunction. So what that means is that the Sun is right here, the Earth is right here, and Mercury is way over here on the other side of the Sun. Because Mercury will do two different conjunctions in its cycle. It will do the superior conjunction to start with, and then when it's retrograde about halfway through, it will do the inferior conjunction. And it basically moves like this all the way around Sun, and we can see it from our perspective. When it's back here, it's moving this way on the chart, and when it's in retrograde from about here to here, it's moving the other direction on the chart. Okay, so this is over here around 228 is when Mercury was in its superior conjunction. So conjunct Saturn, conjunct the Sun, a brand new cycle for Mercury. And Mercury, what is Mercury, right? So I always like to speak to Mercury about how he attains enlightenment. He does that through knowledge transmission and reception. So I often use an apple when I'm doing readings. I'll say, Mercury will have the apple in his hand and he'll know every single thing about it, from the stem to the seed to the DNA to where the name came from, the type of tree it came from, the nomenclature of the apple, everything, So just knowing every single little thing, every little detail. He's also our channel. He's also how we learn. He's also our ability to speak and to communicate. Transactions as well. So there's a little bit of money and that sort of flow involved with Mercury. And then also trickery too. So Mercury as a god was the trickster god. So you have to be very clear and clean with your communications with Mercury. Conjunct the Sun, which is the highest expression of ourself. So you have the expression of our knowledge, the expression of our truth, the expression of our ability to communicate, all right there in Aquarius, which is our collective, which is our friends. It's the love that we receive. And then Saturn, putting a big wet blanket on our on that energy. Now, as the cycle moves on, this is where we would want to set intentions. This is like a new moon for Mercury. So, what intentions do you want to set? Well, for me, this was the end of Hell Week for me. This was the end of February. This was when I was starting to tell all my patients that I was leaving. It was very emotional. One of our doctors quit, so I had to take a bunch of extra call. I was so exhausted. So I called that week Hell Week because it was very, very busy. It felt very Saturnian. um, and also what was going on is that all three of these luminaries were sextiling on Jupiter in Aries. So this energy was like we had all the time to do what we needed to do. So once I got through Hell Week, everything kind of felt really good. It was very supportive. I was starting to be optimistic because I only had about 4 weeks left to go. And so this cycle for me was about completing what I was responsible for, communicating to my patients about what my intentions were. And then by the time the cycle is complete, then I will have transitioned completely into my new role at the hospital, focusing more on my astrology work. So for me, that was my personal intention for this particular cycle. Let's see how it moves through by animating this chart a little bit. Okay. So you guys watch right over here, this Mercury. So as we move, hey, Brian Jones, thanks for joining. I really appreciate your comments on my videos. It's very kind of you. You guys, when you have a big video, there's a lot of trolls and mean people out there. You would not believe it. Some guy said, I thought you were a dude. Oh my gosh, it was funny. As Mercury was entering Pisces, uh, it became sextile to Uranus. And while Mercury is the transmitter sort of in our local solar system, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. And I like to think of him as the cosmic transmitter. So bringing in the new, the wild, and the crazy energies from the cosmos for us to be able to communicate as well. Also about metamorphosis too, unexpected metamorphosis of the self, which seemed to sort of match the process that I myself am going through. So as Mercury's leaving the arms of Saturn, entering into the realm of Pisces and into the arms of Neptune, we get the conjunction around, I think, the 7th and the 8th of March. I don't know if anybody else had any weird dreams that week, but oh my gosh, I sure did. It was actually pretty scary. I wasn't quite sure what to make of this dream. I'll just share it with you guys. I had a dream that I was in my house getting ready to do a video. And all of a sudden, somebody that I follow on YouTube started talking to me personally. They don't know me. And they started saying, hey, Danny, how's it going? So I should have had a clue there that I was in a dream. And then my brother, who doesn't live here, walked in the room and started getting really angry with me, like asking me for things that I didn't know the answer to. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to my bedroom. And then I went to my bedroom and there were all these people in my bathroom. Somebody was laying in my bed and I started to scream, get out, get out. And my husband heard me screaming and he came in and he woke me up and I was in tears. So like, thank God that was a dream. I mean, it was crazy. So I don't know if any of you guys had dreams, but that was definitely a shift in energy there. So as we keep going, around the 17th, Mercury is conjunct Chiron and the North Node, so the 17th and 18th. And this was right around the time when that video came out. So, the destiny, that evolutionary path that the collective's working on, I'm also working on my own. That Mercury kind of went over that area and then everybody just kind of piled on Dr. Danny's channel to watch this video. It felt like I got a ton of orders. It was amazing. Also, believe it or not, you guys, I'm actually a very shy person, kind of an introvert, which was weird for me to be a tropical Leo. I'm actually a Cancer sun in my sidereal chart, which makes a lot more sense. So for me to be live on YouTube is a little bit outside of my comfort zone. For me to actually even do videos and to get all this attention is really, really amazing. So stepping outside of the comfort zone, doing things that, where people ridicule you and sort of make fun of you and that kind of thing. It is my Chiron return as well. So that was a part of last week's experience. And I kind of just said, you know what, I just forgive them, because whatever they're going through, or they have to say those things to us, or, to people that are putting themselves out there, that's on them. That's their issue. It's not mine. I'm doing the best I can. I had to kind of talk myself into that. So what's happening now? So this week, Mercury goes retrograde on the 1st. So as we move through this time space, Mercury starts to slow down. You can actually visually see that right here. Watch him just kind of slow down a little bit. And that's where we are right now. And after retrograde on the 1st, Mercury's going to turn around and then go back over Chiron. So maybe it's an energy of, switch places with the sun. There's your inferior conjunction that I talked about. So here's kind of like the full moon of this cycle with Mercury, where they're in an inferior conjunction. So now we have sun. Here's Earth. This is sun. And now Mercury's right here. So you can see how the energy is very, very different. Mercury's like a transmitter too, always constantly transmitting and receiving, transmitting and receiving. And as we're moving this way, Mercury's getting closer and closer to Earth, faster and faster and faster. And so that Doppler shift that I'm talking about, the wavelengths decrease in length as they get closer and closer to Earth. So we're getting more and more and more and more Mercury energy, which to me explains why people get crazy when Mercury goes retrograde. There's so much energy filling their channel. And if you're not in tune to it, if you can't, sit with yourself, sit with spirit and just kind of let all that in, you're going to be very distracted. You're going to lose your keys. You're going to not remember things. You're going to not understand what people are trying to say to you. At least that's my theory, how Mercury works. So I always tell my husband, because he's like, is Mercury in retrograde? I'm like, yeah, it is. You got to go slow. You got to be very deliberate with each step that you take, everything that you try to do. Okay, so that's going to be right around the 10th or 11th. And that is when, that's a few days after the eclipse too. And I'll go back. We'll go back and look at that. But I wanted to just talk about Mercury for the moment. So as Mercury crosses over the sun and switches places, conjuncts Chiron again, then you've got Venus, Mercury, and the North Node all conjunct. So this is going to happen in a couple of weeks. This will be when I start my new job. All right. And I don't know if you guys have watched my Venus videos. I did just drop a video. I do a new video on Venus every time she goes into a new sign. And while Mercury attains enlightenment by knowledge, transmission, reception, and truth, knows everything about the apple, Venus doesn't even need to know the name of the apple, right? She bites it, she feels the crunch, feels the weight of the apple, adores the color of the apple, the smell of the apple, the taste of the apple, and doesn't even need to know what it is. She just loves it because she gains the knowledge through the senses. And there's so many more examples other than the apple, and it can be so much bigger than that. And so you've got both of these energies right there at the North Node, which is kind of like the left brain and the right brain, both working together. You've got the artistic, creative energy with the logical thinking energy right there with our North Node for the collective, which is our evolutionary path towards universal love and oneness. And this is just such a synchronous and beautiful energy. As they switch places, Venus keeps going, and then Mercury will slow down again because he is going to start to go direct again. Okay, now this is him winding down the cycle. This is him on this side, moving this way. So that's where we are right here. And he's not going to go any further. So as we keep going through this cycle, now he's in a forward motion everything's moving into Aries. This is going to feel so good, you guys, with Jupiter going into Taurus and Uranus conjunct Jupiter. We're going to have just unexpected changes. We're going to be grounded in that metamorphosis of the self that we went through as both Jupiter and Uranus went retrograde and forward again. And he's kind of bringing up the rear with Mars. Venus enters Aries. And then everything's going to move through Aries, including Mercury, all the way through May. As the sun moves into Taurus, will make its conjunction with both Jupiter and Uranus. Venus will do the same. And then Mercury really doesn't aspect too much while they're doing this. Let me just finish this up here. Let's see. Yeah. So Mercury will do a square with Pluto as he goes from Pisces to Aries, and that's hidden information. Let me go back a few days just so we know what day that is. That's going to be right about here. So mid-May, some hidden information is going to come out. Something's going to be revealed to us, maybe about ourselves, maybe about the structures of our life. But there's that square right there. And then pretty quiet transit through Aries for Mercury. And then crossover Uranus, they'll be conjunct. So you've got the two octaves now conjunct right there at the beginning of Taurus, which is a very nice, very easy energy. This whole month is going to feel really good with these personal planets here. And then as we get right around here, Mercury, Sun, and Venus are going to meet up again because Venus will be starting a new cycle and so will Mercury. So it's really just all very, very synchronous. I hope you guys get what I'm trying to say about this whole Mercury cycle as it swings around the sun and how we can work with it. And so what intentions would you set after you know how this whole cycle's going, after you know that this last one was about the nodes, about our collective evolution? I think that for me, this might be about starting new creative projects. Using transactions, using my knowledge, using truth, all grounded in the energy of Taurus. This is also Venus's home constellation too. So this is going to be a really wonderful time as we get into the beginning of June for this type of energy. Okay, so that's basically this Mercury cycle that we've been going through in a nutshell, and we're about to go through a really, really intense portion of it, and it is in Pisces. So I got this little book that you guys should pick up that might be helpful to you if you want like cool little tips and tricks on how to deal with Mercury. It's called the Mercury Retrograde book, and it is by Yasmin Boland and Kim Farnell. They're British, so they're very cute and quippy in their book. And so I went ahead and bookmarked the upside, their chapter on Pisces. It's very short. I'm going to read this to you. So on the one hand, this is positive because Mercury, the planet of our mind, and where Mercury goes, our minds follow. Under Mercury retrograde in the dreamy spiritual sign of Pisces, we have a longer time to focus on the mystical. That said, Pisces is already a potentially foggy sign, so Mercury retrograde can up the confusion. Spending your time on hobbies that don't involve your rational mind, such as gardening, painting, music, will bring the mental space you need to allow you to bring clarity to your feelings. Artistic skills are heightened under this cycle, and it's a very good time to revisit any projects you've left incomplete. If you've had a dream that you've abandoned, allow yourself some time with it again, especially any creative projects, mystical or musical bent. So take up meditation again if you've stopped. Listen to music that you loved years ago. Rethink your boundaries. Rediscover your kind and compassionate side, and reread any favorite books or favorite films, or just get lost in the daydreams. So it's actually a good time, like I said, to just kind of go inward, and especially with the eclipse. Let's just go back a few weeks here so that we can look at that eclipse a little bit more. Oh, you guys, on Friday, I hope you all can make it. In the Facebook group Radical Astrology, I am part of an 8-person roundtable It's going to be the most amazing amount of astrological knowledge for constellational astrology that you will ever see. We are going to go over this eclipse in full detail. Some of my colleagues cover the asteroids. I don't. So you'll get information on Eris and Vesta and all those other asteroids. We're going to talk about Chiron. We're going to talk about the Saros cycle. We're going to talk about all the planets, Neptune, Venus, Saturn, all of it. So I hope you guys can come and do that. You'll have to join the group to watch it live. I am going to have a recording of it and put it on my channel. It'll probably be up over the weekend or afterwards. So what you want to watch out for during this Mercury in retrograde, with your brain potentially fuddled, it's easy. They're British, by the way. It's too easy for smooth talkers to persuade you into buying whatever they're selling. So just accept that you're likely to be extra gullible and maybe want to delay purchases until later when you can think more clearly. When your thoughts are redirected to Piscean realms, it may be difficult to tell fact from fiction. A simple rule of thumb here is to remember that things are not always as they seem, and then try to relax and enjoy life. It's just 3 weeks, so if you can put stuff on hold, it's probably a good idea. Since Pisces has an association with unhealthy, even addictive behaviors as well, it's better to, as a way of escaping the pressures or boredom of daily life, go easy on that too. Consider making positive changes that will feed your imagination and soul. So basically what they're saying is don't drink too much. Don't, oh, hey, Brenda, it's the class is at 7 in about 30 minutes. If you want to go. Rachel Stewart, Disheveled Sage says Rachel Stewart has a book titled Mercury in Retrograde is a quality book too. Yeah, absolutely. Let's share resources. So let's see. Feeling so dreamy means you may stare into space for hours on end, conversations drift into strange territory, and your memory is potentially very unreliable. You might be tempted to temporarily run away and hide from the world. Do it if you want to and if you can. So then how would you work with this energy personally, you guys, right? So if you wanted to, look at your own chart, I do have a free chart calculator on my website that Athen Commenti gave me the code to, so you guys can access it through my website. I'm going to go there and show it to you real quick. If you just go right here and go to free chart, you can put in your details and then it will populate a chart for you. So let's just do one real quick. Let's just say somebody was born June of, 1980 at 12 o'clock in Corpus Christi. That's not my birthday, but just for display purposes. Then you would look for Pisces and you would see Pisces in the 8th house and you would say, all right, so then Mercury retrograde is going to be in my 8th house. What do I do? And then this book has that for you. So you can go to the 8th house, for example. Let's see what they say. And you can say Mercury retrograde in your 8th house. It's time to have another think about who you're getting into bed with, both financially and sexually. When Mercury is retrograde in your 8th house, anything related to joint financial ventures, sex, and intimacy is up for debate. Joint finances refer to your salary, credit cards, and loans. Wherever your money is tied up with someone else's, it can also be where it's tied up with a partner, past or present. When Mercury goes backwards in this part of your chart, you can expect to be rethinking or reconsidering one of these subjects. If you have a history of attracting the wrong type of partner, ask yourself why, what that might be. Are you attracted to people with qualities that you don't want to acknowledge in yourself? There could also be confusion in one of these areas. So look at how well you're relating to people on an intimate level. If you're keeping people at arm's length, whether by being standoffish or constantly cracking jokes, for example, now is the time for you to do some serious thinking about the barriers you're putting up. This part of your chart is also about jealousy and obsession. For some, an old jealousy problem will come back. See if you can deal better with it this time around. For others, you tend to try to control people. Now is the time to A, deal with the fallout from that, and B, work out a better way to carry yourself. For some people, this is a sinister house. If you go through ancient astrological manuscripts, you'll find all manner of strange writings about death. The 8th house was once the house of death, but these days we think of it more in enlightened terms, the house of death and rebirth, for instance. That brings a sort of Buddhist meaning to this otherwise slightly frightening domain. So think of this house as the phoenix rising from the ashes on the leaves that wither and disappear into the soil, only to be reabsorbed and later brought back to life when another plant flourishes there. And then they give you some tips and tricks on what to do. So, number one, call in your debts, renew your insurance, avoid relying on other people's money or money owed to you. Review your loans and see if you can get a better deal and get rid of something you've been planning to. And then on the upside, if people owe you money, try to send out some invoice reminders. It's an excellent time to collect. If you're working on financial gain, it's a great time to give it another once over. And there's also sexual enlightenment in this house, and it can be time when an old flame returns for some classic sex with X energy. It's just a really cute book. Let's see. What else did I say? Yeah, and then they give you affirmations at the end too. So like, I am taken care of materially. All my financial needs are being met. My sex life is wonderfully healthy. And then they suggest using the oil myrrh, working with the goddess Kali and the archangel Jeremiah, the life receiver. Yeah, so this is a cool little book if you want to work with Mercury retrograde, kind of find out where it is in your house. Yeah, actually, disheveled sage, say that 3 times fast, says, I appreciate the effort in bringing astrology back into the medical lexicon. For real. I mean, I don't know why, but, before 19 or 1650, physicians actually had to learn astrology before they went into medical school, believe it or not. So I just found that very interesting. And Miss Judith Hill, she is amazing. I don't know if any of you know her work. She does do tropical, but she also does do the caveat that the signs are not the constellations. And she uses whole sign houses, which is basically the same kind of house system that I use as well. And I don't know, it might be that there are certain parts of the sky that if they're divided up into 12 sections relate to certain parts of the body. But I haven't been brave enough to actually practice medical astrology because I do, I kind of came up through the traditional system. But there are some interesting correlates in my own medical history too, as well. Like for instance, I have a Capricorn moon, and she actually did do a study with some doctors, a retrospective study that people with Capricorn moons are more likely to have had hysterectomies, and I've had a hysterectomy, so I thought that was super interesting. So, yeah, bringing back into one sacred science. I mean, astrology is the original science, you guys. It was the mother of all sciences. It started physics, it started calendars, it started medicine. So it's the seed science for all of the other sciences, and it really is powerful. And I think that's why it went underground, because to have that much power when the church was trying to take all the power back in the day. And I'm not trying to put the church down or anything, but that was their deal. They like murdered people that wanted to have more power than the church. And the esoteric wisdom of astrology and plant medicine and all of that, it was pushed underground. You were burned at the stake. You were killed if you taught it to people. So yeah, illustrious orchestration says, hey, Dr. Danny, preach. Yeah. So anyway, do you guys have any questions for me about anything I talked about, any of the concepts, anything you want to know about me, the work I do? Let me show y'all some more about my website, and then if you throw some questions in there, I'll answer them. And then I will share with you my next big project idea, if you all are willing. So I don't know if y'all have been to drdanny.com, but here's my website. And on the homepage is a quick link where you can go to all of my products and services. Usually I'll put the most current classes right here. And then my favorite reading here. Hey, Sue, the book is called The Mercury Retrograde Book. And it is by Kim Farnell and Yasmin Bolin. It's a nice little handbook. This reading, which was part of my lunar eclipse video. I'm going to open that back up tomorrow morning. So if you guys want to get the flash eclipse reading, you can do that. I will be off next week because I'll finally be done with my job. So I'll have some time to do a few of these. So I'm gonna open that back up tomorrow morning. If you guys want to do that, you don't have to, but if you're interested. And then here's my course page. And I put all the courses that I currently have right now. The Mercury class will be on here after this. I also have another website. It's called learn.drdanny.com right here. And this has all of the courses that we've done so far. And I've done all of these live to begin with the exception of the comprehensive course and the levels 1, 2, and 3. I did that on my own over the summer and just kind of sat down and did a course for someone that would be a beginner. So it's a really nice option for someone that has never done astrology, doesn't know how to do astrology. This is a great course right here. And then these are all ones that we've done live. So there's that. And then y'all know about the channel. And then, of course, the Fellowship of 13 Signs. We're growing slowly but surely right over here. And my friend Don Bird, he's going to be on the call on Friday. He's going to talk about the lunar nodes. He does evolutionary astrology. He posts a little something on there every day. Very nice, just one aspect or two aspects, and he'll go through kind of questions about it. It's very, very nice that he posts there every day. I appreciate him. And then another group you guys can check out if you're not already doing that is Radical Astrology. These guys are very smart and they're very good at answering questions. And we kind of help each other too. So like Maria Schumacher does the dailies over here. And if you have a question about anything in that chart, you just ask her. People are so willing to like help you. So if you want to get into constellational astrology, this is how you do it. You kind of hook up with these people and build community with us and learn with us and teach us as well things that you find out. Okay. Oh, the call on Friday, Brenda, is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And it's live on Facebook. So the 8 of us will be on a call broadcasting live into the Radical Astrology group. And then after the call, I'm going to take my recording and I'm going to post it on my YouTube channel. So you guys will be able to check it out later. But if you wanted to watch live and you wanted to ask questions while we were talking, they're going to be monitoring the Facebook group. So you can just type your question into the comments and we can do that. Cool. All right, let's see. Anybody else have any other questions, thoughts? Gosh, I can't believe I've been talking for 45 minutes. I used to be such a shy person. Oh, this is awesome. I guess when something lights you up, when you're passionate about something, you can really literally go on and on and on and talk about it. So yeah. Oh yeah, thank you, Illustrious Orchestrations, for the it's not really a career change. It's just I'm still going to be a doctor. I'll be delivering babies for mommies that don't have doctors. And then if there's any emergencies, I'll be available. So more of the exciting stuff that goes on with medicine. In clinical practice, there's a lot of kind of bread and butter, not very exciting kind of thing. And it takes a lot of your time. I mean, I would see like 80 to 100 patients a week and deliver, 5 to 10 babies a week and then do 3 to 5 surgeries. And now it's just shift work. I'll be showing up, 6 or 7 times a month. I'll know exactly when to show up, exactly when to leave, and exactly how much I'm getting paid. And then the rest of the time is for this energy, for this work I want to do. Cool. And then I'm going to tell you guys one more thing that's really, really amazing. And this just lights me up. So I hope it does for you too. When I was taking Judith Hill's medical astrology course, she offered a free add-on course for astrology and fertility. I thought, wow, yeah, that's totally up my alley because I help people with that too. And she taught us about the Jonas method. I don't know if any of you have ever heard about it, but essentially what you do is you take the mother's natal solar lunar arc. So whatever phase the moon was in her natal chart, during the transiting moon, whenever the moon is in that phase, that's her most fertile window. And so Dr. Jonas was a doctor in the 1950s, and I purchased the book astrological birth control. It's out of print. I spent a bunch of money so that I could have this book. And it describes Dr. Jonas's sort of story and how he came to find this out. He was a medical student in Czechoslovakia, and he was in the library one day and he found the section on astrology and he started reading it. He found out about this method. And so he, over the course of his studies, would go retrospectively on the maternity wards, grab their charts and see when they would have potentially conceived, matched it up with their birthday and their lunar phase. And he found an 80% correlation to it. And he also, by doing this and publishing his work, he was able to get the attention of doctors in Europe, and other women in Europe would send him letters just with their birthday asking if they could help him or if he could help them. And he could help them. It was amazing. By working with OBGYNs, they were able to refine the technique and get it up to a 90% success rate for fertility, also for preventing pregnancy and also for choosing the gender of the baby. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is literally what I want to do. So, so that's going to be something I'm working on, trying to get that together, make that like a legit sort of way that I can practice with people, not in the snapping through the clinic, a patient every 5 minutes. This will be, I have a couple and I can talk to them about their medical history and I can talk to them about their astrology, and I'm going to have like a course on nutrition, and there's going to be a very nice spiritual component too, where they connect with their future children, so to speak. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So if you know of anybody that's struggling with fertility and wants to kind of work with me as a pilot, I send them my way, because I am very excited about doing this for women and their future families. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this live. It was nice to have a group with me, and I'm going to get off here and jump on to, I'm going to take a little potty break and get a drink and then come back and get ready for the live course. So if you guys want to join, grab the link at the top of the chat and I'll see you over there. And those of you who are already registered, I will see you in about 10 minutes. Thank you so much, you guys. Namaste. I love you all.